Ah, yes. Happy New Year to all of ye joining
Happy
us.
New Year. It's, what a start to 2026. I'm quite looking forward to this.
It's been a year already.
All the things.
Yeah. All right. Hey, though, 2026 is our year. We're back, baby. Look at that. We actually went on break and came back. Can you believe it?
Well,
we actually did it this time.
We did it this time, and we come back when we said we were going to. I mean, that's just two things, isn't it?
Look at us go.
So next time who knows what happened? We might keep going through the entire year. I mean,
wouldn't that be a surprise?
It would be. I know it's coming up in 2 weeks' time. Anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Okay. 2 weeks. All right. Yeah. Hi, everybody. I am somebody who tries to make Barry laugh in the pre-show, the 5 minutes that we are on before we get here to you all. And I had just sent Barry a chat that said the thumbnail for this week is so stupid. I love it.
And because I'm using a house screen at the moment, I've only just seen it. So, yeah. But there we go.
Yeah, here, should I bring up the thumbnail for reference? I feel like I
you might as well.
I need to.
Otherwise, we're having them background jokes that nobody knows what we're talking about, and then they'll think,
what are these guys even? This is UX in 2026, baby. We got it. Here's the background. Kind of. How have I done this before? Here, wait, no, that's not it. That's not what I wanted to do.
You have to switch us both off, don't you?
Maybe. All right, here, let me. Oh, geez. These guys don't know anything. What are they doing?
I mean, long-term listeners to the show will know that for a fact anyway.
Know that we actually don't know what we're doing.
Sometimes.
Hang on, there used to be a way to show these. Now I'm upset because I can't remember. Oh, I've got it, Barry. Hold on. Let me bring you back.
Hey.
I'm going to bring back our fantastic background that we actually seldom use, which is this thing. And then now we can see our whole setup. But anyway, that's back. Let's look at this. Here we go. I got it. Look at this. That's the image. That's the thumbnail for this week. Can you believe it?
That looks like out of some like a movie type of thing, which is quite cool.
Oh, once again, it's so stupid. I love it. Wait, now I got to find the right one of these. Where's the thing? This is probably close enough. Anyway. Yeah, so that picture is what UX in 2026 will look like. Barry?
I mean, to be fair, I don't think we're going to be far away from that. I mean, I've seen the movies.
I think yeah, so that's the story tonight. What does UX look like? By extension, human factors. What does that look like in 2026? And we're covering an article, and we'll do that in just half an hour's time. Which, speaking of half an hour, surprise, we're here half an hour earlier. Yeah, and if that's a surprise to you, it's a surprise to us too, because I accidentally scheduled the wrong time. But I think it's actually a good thing.
I think it could work because over here in the UK, the people who are maybe going to listen to it get to listen to it half an hour earlier, and maybe stay with us all the way through the show before they go to bed.
Right.
And more importantly, I get to go to bed in half an hour earlier, which I'm a fan of.
I'm a fan of that too. I think it all works out because here's the thing: is that this is the pre-show. The actual show has always started halfway, or I guess 30 minutes into the thing. And we've always started at the top of the hour. So now if we're starting half an hour before, we are now leaving ourselves with, the show starts on the hour.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's an actual show.
Yeah. I might have some unscheduled interruptions tonight.
Oh.
Because we are on the edge of the first storm of the year. So I'm obviously sat in the cabin at the bottom of my gown, which is where I normally broadcast from. And I've already, just to get here, we've had rain, hail, snow, and now we seem to be back to rain, I think, from what I can see. So if the tree in my garden, but we meant to get, it's the first storm we've had in a long time where parts of it we're actually on a red warning, which is imminent danger to life. So if that kind of happens and the tree collapses on top of my cabin, then can you just fill for a while?
I will try, but I have to warn you. We are also experiencing storms in the area. We're experiencing thunderstorms. So
fun.
There may be a rare occasion where both of us get kicked off, which would be hilarious. And
I don't think I'll get kicked off. What you might see is impressive imagery in the background of a tree crashing through the building.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
No ice flurries coming through it, and me maybe whimpering in a broken way that you see on the start of good medical dramas before they swoop in and try and diagnose you. So you might get some drama out of it, but somebody might want to switch the camera off if it becomes too much. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, this will be great fun. 1 second here.
So I find this quite an interesting, because obviously one of the first things we talk about is the interest about what's going on in 1202 and stuff like that. And it's a good prompt for me, because over Christmas I was meant to sit down and make my list of 12 interviews for this year. And the one thing I have done so far is make my list of 12 interviews for this year. So we've got the first couple in mind, we think. But yeah, January's hitting hard and fast really quickly.
So you're telling me that we will actually have an update for 1202 when I ask you what's the latest over 1202?
We'll have an idea of an update.
A little bit?
We'll have an update to get the plan to get the update. It's a lot closer than it was in December.
Excellent.
We know what we're doing. We just don't know. We know what we're doing. We just don't know what we're doing yet. So,
excellent.
Next week we definitely should have, because I need to have recorded something.
Shoot! I'm trying to queue up this article, and it keeps failing on me. The website. Are you in?
Yeah. I've got it up. But it does. When I've refreshed it, I accidentally refreshed it, and then the whole website.
Apologies, something went wrong on our end. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, I've had that a few.
Well,
times.
You know what? It's a good thing that I can copy and paste in the short amount of time it lets me on. So I'm going to go ahead and paste the full article at the bottom.
I've got the list of the 10 items.
I saw the list.
So that helps.
That does help.
Do you want to? So let's do the programming bit. Do you want to go through the full list straight after my blurb, or should we do thoughts first and then talk about them in depth?
Let's do full list, then thoughts, then go one by one.
Okay, cool. Well, we can just leave them there then and go back and reference them. That's fine. And would you like to read the full list, or would you like me to read the full list?
Oh, you can read the blurb. I'll read the full list.
Okay, that sounds good. Yes, because one of the reasons for deleting the 1202 stuff was so I could actually get it all on one thing. That's exciting.
All right. I think our show notes are pretty solid here. I was able to fit the full article down below. Are you able to see that? It's like way.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, got it. Yeah. I'm just not going to refresh that on the page now anyway, and try and leave that there.
Yeah. It's there if we need it.
What did you think of my It Came From? I like my first one.
I like them too. I saw those in the subreddits, and
yeah.
We're still catching up over the year, so it'll be a good chance for us to go through and grab some of those and answer some of those.
I guess the first one is the one where we need to work out what we're doing.
I'll say the word.
Oh, fair enough. That's cool. Because that's what drew me to it. So it's where the value is, and I do have this discussion a lot. So
interesting. Yeah, it'll be good. I need to put together some thoughts on those.
Cool.
No, don't do that, Barry. We're a whole half an hour early. You cannot.
I know.
You cannot.
I don't know about you, but when you have a break, it takes you a certain amount of time within that break to wind down properly, especially I find over the Christmas break, because by the time you stop work, you then got to you get stressed out for Christmas. You go shopping for days and days and days just to make sure you got enough food for one 24-hour period. Then you have relatives visiting, and that can be a greater or lesser amount of stress depending on who's visiting. And then you've got that space between Christmas and New Year, which you just don't know what to do with. People vaguely know what day it is, and then you've got New Year's. And then you're suddenly working out, right, well, I'm going back to work in a couple of days. And just as you get to that bit of, actually, I've probably wound down enough now, sleeping a bit later and all that sort of stuff, you're like, I'm going to go back to work tomorrow. Genius. I'm on that bit now. So I've had a very productive first week back, which surprised, has not annoyed my team, but surprised me.
It's always nice when you get back and like the first couple days are like, wait, what am I doing here? What's going on? And I'm gonna speak anecdotally about this year, or I guess this season was particularly interesting because you had Christmas that was on a Thursday, and then New Year's that was on a Wednesday and going into a Thursday, New Year's Day, 2 weeks in a row. And sometimes that falls on like a weekend where you get like, Christmas, and then you wrap up with New Year's, and then you get like a bumper day, but this was a 2 week span. And for us here in the States, let me just say me specifically. For me specifically, I had enough PTO to take off because I think the move earlier last year took a lot of PTO time away from me. So I had that time that I was back at work, took the week off for Christmas, had family over. And I think I talked about that last time. There was a ton of people under one roof, no drama, which was awesome.
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, that was great. And then the week after, I came back for 3 days, like 2.5 days, and then did the New Year's Day off, and then the Friday where nobody was working, but I was. And I have to say that actually did a lot for my like mental preparation for this week, where everybody's back, getting fully into the swing of things, where I felt like, oh, okay, I'm on top of this. I got this.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice.
So yeah, we definitely I took a good solid 2 weeks off. I mean, there was some, I had a little bit of a project or research bit going on, which I'll talk about in the One More Thing piece. But that was quite nice to be able to explore some stuff in my own way, which was quite cool. And it was just, but having that solid 2 weeks of not doing anything, and I guess this is where in the UK, because holiday works differently. Right. But for us here, then it does fall quite nicely. And again, as you were saying, because of the way the Christmas and New Year fell, it made sense to take some chunks. And what was quite nice is some friends of mine were able to take the week before that off as well. So I didn't, but some of the folks I work with, they'd saved the holiday and took that week off. So they had a really good solid 3 week break, which I remember doing a bunch of years ago when I worked for a large corporate. I would accidentally, in many ways, because I've always been rubbish at taking holiday, save up all my holiday for the end of the year. And there was a couple of years where I took the entirety of December off. I managed to schedule our projects and all, and I could just take December off, just take a month off. And I kind of missed that, to the point that I'd said to Amanda the other day, is there any way that we think we could schedule me taking a month out of this year? To which her answer, once she stopped laughing, it was not so much, but I like your aspiration. If I'm not around for a random month, then that's because I managed to schedule things around me having a month off, which means I'll be here all the time. So,
excellent.
But we shall see.
Okay. I am. What am I doing?
No idea, mate.
Maybe I am the yeah, here. Let's see. I'm doing a thing. I'm coming up with my my responses to these it came from, because you said it came from. I relied heavily on you to get those, and thank you. So now I need to answer them so that way I don't feel like I am spouting. What?
Oh, we could. I mean, let's face it. Of the first one, we could do an entire show on it. Or I could, because I can rant at length about that one. Oh no, I think I'm going to be yawning all the way through this. I'll apologize in advance.
Oh, this is interesting. Sorry, I am. All right, this is dumb. Would you like to know what's dumb?
Yeah, go on then. Are you just pushing? Like,
no. What's happened is I never have a good sense of whether we're streaming on TikTok or not. It's been mysteriously difficult to find out, and so I checked it, and okay, lo and behold, we're streaming.
Cool.
And then I'm in the full analytics suite, and I just got notified that we have broken several community guidelines.
Oh.
Repeated guidelines, and our restream access has been revoked and suspended, and I have no idea why. Like, what did we say?
I was going to say, do we have a list of community violations?
And I go to the thing, and it says there's nothing that we did wrong. So I have no idea. Live guidelines for using. Hold on, let's see here. Live studio, green screen, mobile gaming. What are live features? I don't know, man. This is some. How can we be better? How can we be better if we can't?
So we're not live streaming on TikTok at the moment.
No, but we were up to like 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
so
what did I do 5 minutes ago?
I don't know.
I don't think I swore or anything.
This is really strange. It's really strange. Like, it just said your restream has been revoked. So, no idea. Anyway, if you're watching us on another platform, thank you for joining us on another platform. We just try to make it. We really try to be accessible everywhere. And
TikTok just doesn't like us.
No, Instagram makes it very difficult. TikTok doesn't like us. Maybe. I don't know. It says it's sending data now. Who knows? It might be trying to reconnect. Who knows? Who knows?
Let me.
And it said one of our previous streams, the one that we're back. That one we actually did a full 2 hours and 5 minutes on. So I have no idea. If you have any suggestions for what we did wrong, you can tell TikTok to shove it. Is what
I was going to say. We're not, as far as I can see, we are not live on TikTok at the moment.
No. But like I said, if you are joining us on any of these other platforms, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And you know what? Heck, while we're at it, why don't you just let us know where you're watching from? Say hi. Yeah. Hello. This is great. It's good to see you. This is supposed to be a community building thing that we're doing here. By doing the live streams, it's not just an excuse to do it in one shot, although that is a nice perk.
So that well, I still do. I still prefer to do all my interviews one shot. They're you just get a certain fluidity, of discussion. I think the first 5 or 10 interviews I ever did, I interviewed them. Then I would spend ages recording, because of course that we going back in the time when you didn't have the editing suites that the young kids use now. We had to do like editing the hard way with like sound forms and stuff.
Waveforms, what are those?
Yeah, it's crazy that when you think about it, the amount the technology's evolved just over the past 5 years is incredible. It is stunning for being able to do communications. Yeah, it's the fact that we can now very easily be accessible on such a broad range of platforms. I quite like the so I used to spend a lot of time doing all that editing. So for every I think I worked out for every half hour of program I'd spend about an hour editing. Because I would take a lot of stuff out and try and make it really smooth and really slick. I don't do that anymore because I like to be natural. I also don't have enough hours in the day, so that's my stylistic excuse, because it fits with my narrative.
So here's some behind the scenes magic. I don't know. What do you call it? It's like behind the scenes insights. Behind the scenes insights for here at Human Factors Cast. What we do. So we're doing this conversation right now, right? This is a conversation that we're having live. And if you're watching on Thursday, January 8th, 2026, you are listening live with us. And if you're watching at another time, then you are not sitting with us live. And if you are live with us, why are you not saying hi? Say hello. This is great. I'm happy to see you. The thing that we do behind the scenes that I find is really effective is that we try to, or is this giving away too much of the paper? Oh,
go for it. It's a good thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think they'll hear about it anyway.
One of the things that we do here is that we match the editing to the format. So this is a live stream. It's completely unedited. What you're seeing is what you're getting right now. If I say a bad word, there's no way for me to possibly censor that in the moment. If somebody makes a crude comment, I can not feature that, but there's no way for me to censor that in the comments unless I go in and manually delete it. But this is live. What you're getting is what you're seeing is what you're getting. There are two other formats that we do primary formats. The other one being a re-airing of this. So in that, what we do is we cut the major things that are irrelevant to that out. When we do this live, we need things like breaks. And so that's why we run a commercial in the middle for the Patreon and for Human Factors Minute, because we need a little break to catch our breath, to take a drink, to reset. And that's why we do the segments as well. They kind of put us in the right frame of mind. I remove those when we do the repost because it just takes up time and it doesn't really feed a purpose. So when we repost the video, those are removed. Now, they do serve a purpose in an audio format. They actually cue a listener into what section they're at, especially is useful for those who listen at an increased speed or skip to certain sections to hear certain things. So we have those at dedicated lengths. I think they're like 15 seconds to accommodate for most skipping. But the other thing that we do in an audio format is we remove all the ums and ers and filler words. So that way the conversation flows a little bit more naturally. So it's an interesting thing that we do behind the scenes is we match the format to the place that we're presenting it. And that, I think, is core Human Factors, as we're designing for our audience.
Oh, check you. I'm much lazier. I keep weirdly that's why my editing took so long, was because I would edit out all my ums and ahs. But then I realized that if you take out all my ums and ahs, then I'm not speaking for very long at all. When I did take a lot of that out, I got quite a lot of feedback, more than 5 or 6 people coming to me and saying, it just doesn't sound like me. It doesn't sound natural. It sounds heavily edited. I was like, well, that's because it is heavily edited, because I want it for that. And they're like, yeah, I get that. And for anybody who doesn't know you, yeah, it sounds really good, but it doesn't sound like you, because it's not you. We can imagine your somebody in particular said, we can imagine you sat there doing what you're doing, and they liked imagining, which at the time I felt was slightly weird. I like to imagine you sat doing what you're doing whilst I'm listening to you. And I was like, that's you're on dodgy ground. But so I could sort of see what they meant, which is why I think it's interesting as well, because I know we've had this discussion before about listening at different speeds. I like listening to all podcasts and audiobooks at normal speed, whereas I know you're a 1/2, maybe even 2 times speed person just to suck in all that data and get it in as quickly as possible. I like to think there's a certain artistry that's gone on, and I like to appreciate the art as much as the content, which is why I like the fact you've got options.
Yeah. We have options for how you like to consume it. You like a natural conversation, come to the live stream. You like a slightly more focused version, go watch the video or put it on or listen to it or subscribe to it on YouTube Music, because that's where the podcast gets posted there. You like the heavily focused, all the ums and ers out. We're not real people, but although I will say I do it in a very natural way, I still leave a lot of the ums and ers in if they make sense. Would you like to guess at how much runtime on average is cut from a 1 hour production when I do the ums and ers and take them out? Actually, I'm going to ask everybody watching to guess in the comments. I'll do that. I'll do that. Guess in the comments how many minutes and seconds are usually cut when I take out the ums and ers from a 1 hour runtime podcast. And maybe
you take out less than 45 minutes.
Maybe Barry, you can put me in the private chat. You can put your guess there.
Yeah. Okay.
And here's a little teaser. I will reveal the answer in the post show.
Oh gosh, that's encouraging for a long time.
I will reveal the answer in the post show, which, don't worry, is only 1 hour's time away, because we're about to start the show. Are you ready, Barry? Are you good on?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be. Yes.
All right. Once again, if you're watching or listening live, let us know how long you think those ums and ers are. 10 minutes. We got a 10-minute guess in the chat. All right. Oh, from Andres. Awesome. He's in the lab. Thanks for watching. All right. We're going to be right back. We're going to start the show right after this thing as soon as I can find it. There it is.
Welcome to Human Factors Cast, your weekly podcast for human factors, psychology, and design.
Nope, I didn't cut the music. I need to cut the music. Where's the music?
Don't know.
It's almost like I haven't done this in a month. There it is. All right. Take 2.
Start as you mean to go on.
All right. See, it's live. It's natural. We'll cut that out. We'll cut that out in post. All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Human Factors Cast. This is episode 312. We're recording this episode live on January 8th, 2026. I'm your host, Nick Rome, and I'm joined today by Mr. Barry Kirby. Barry, how are you?
I'm very well. Happy New Year. It's great to be back in the studio.
Same to you, man. Happy New Year. It is great to be back. We are back when we promised. We're back when we said we'd be. We're back, and I hope that's a good sign for the year. So, yeah, and we got a great show for you lined up as well. We're gonna be looking ahead, or I guess looking at the present, at 2026. and what some of the UX design shifts and trends are that we can expect this year. It's an interesting list. We'll go through the whole thing a little bit later. But first, just a couple programming notes or community update. Barry, would you like to tell us what's going on over at 1202? You got any exciting updates?
Yeah, we're actually going to do stuff in 1202 this year.
What?
Which I know I've been teasing this for a while, but it's actually going to happen. We are changing the format slightly. We are going for 12 solid interviews. So we're going for one a month, mainly because we want to ease ourselves back in. There is a half plan about doing some more chat type stuff in between. But at the moment, we're going to keep it simple. We've got 12 interviews coming up, so one a month. And so we'll have the first one out at the end of January. But looking forward to get back into that saddle too.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to listening to my second favorite podcast once again. All right. Well, let's not belay the news. Let's get into it. Yes, that's right. This is the part of the show all about human factors news. Barry, what is the story this week?
Well, this week we are looking at the 10 UX design shifts that basically redraw the map for human technology interaction in 2026. Instead of hand-wavy predictions, the author leans on real work with enterprise design teams and conference chatter to show how explainable AI, agentic AI, and dynamically generated interfaces are changing what it means to design a screen. Voice finally becomes a serious multimodal partner to touch and visuals. Micro interactions graduate from sprinkles to the primary language of feedback. And augmented reality is quietly moving from flashy demo to everyday decision support. At the same time, personalization is being rethought about around user content and clear boundaries. Accessibility is treated as a core design constraint rather than a checkbox, and cross-platform continuity is becoming table stakes as people bounce between devices all day. Finally, biometric and passwordless authentication are reframed as interaction design problems, not just security plumbing. So, Nick, would you be able to go through and give us a brief overview of the all 10 items?
Yeah, you gave us a little bit of a preview there, but to go through them one by one, so there's 10 of these. The first one here is explainable AI becomes non-negotiable. The second one, agentic UX and human agent ecosystems, I guess is more prevalent. That was the title, so I'm just going off of what's there. Number 3, dynamic personalized interfaces generated on demand. Number 4, voice interfaces finally getting their moment. Number 5, micro interactions become the language. Number 6, AR transitions from demonstration to daily application. Number 7, personalization that respects boundaries. Number 8, accessibility becomes foundational, not supplemental. Number 9, cross-platform UX that works. And number 10, biometric authentication becomes the norm. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but Barry, in a rare moment, I'm going to let you go first with your thoughts.
Wow, privilege is mine. It must be like a new year or something. I don't know. There's bits in this list I really, really like, and I really want to get stuck into talking about them. But there are some things in here that are just, hold on, I'm fairly sure we've been saying this for a while. So explainable AI, it's not new, but I think it's really important. We have spoken about this in previous episodes where in the same way as Google Maps existed, we always used to work out what the route was. And then now we don't care. We just put in our thing and make it work. And I think that's where we're going to go with explainable AI. That will, right now, everyone's really serious about it, but we need to think further down the line. Voice being the next big thing. I've got to be honest. I started working on voice hardware, voice software, voice recognition software in 2000. 25 years later, it's still 26 years later. It's still the big thing. It's coming. Really, it's just. It is sort of getting there, but it is not a primary interface. I don't care what anybody says until we can work out, until you get truly conversational interaction. Yeah, okay. Augmented reality, I think I'm going to leave that to you. I'm just going to know. Accessibility, I love this one. Accessibility being made standard is what kind of what we're talking about. Whereas at the moment we have a lot of, you design some UI. And then you're like, oh, right, how do I make it accessible to everybody? And it's kind of an adjunct to, and in some places I've seen, it's sort of not thought about until somebody turns around and says, hold on a second, you're not meeting these standards, you're not meeting best practice. Whereas now I like this idea that people are sort of saying, right, we need to build this in. We need to, because you're talking about making it not just for a subset of people, but a lot more people using a lot more of the accessibility tools. So love the fact that that's going to be a standard, not the exception. Nick, what stands out for you?
There's a few of these line items that stuck out to me. I think just broadly, as we comment on this, know that this is one person's prediction of what to expect for 2026. We'll all have our own predictions, but I think this this list is very optimistic by nature. And I think that's it. Okay. All right. I don't mean that as like a negative thing. I mean it as a positive thing. We should be trying to reach for the stars when it comes to, how humans interact with technology. So the ones that stuck out to me, let me comment on this one. So you left the AR to me. Thank you for that. This one, AR transitions from demonstration to daily application. I don't think it's going to do that this year. Is this our next, flying cars are coming within the next 2 years, augmented and virtual reality are going to be the thing this year. This is it. This is the one that's going to do it. I don't know. I see where the prediction came from. There's a lot of technology coming out, but I don't think it's quite there yet. And then another one that stuck out to me was the personalization that respects boundaries. I'm very hopeful about that one. I think there's a lot of interesting things that some of the latest technology can do, especially when it comes to, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but like vibe coding, what can that do in terms of like personalization, and how can we make, or how do we start up these apps that are designed for the thing that you need to do? That's interesting. There's some wishful thinking about one of these, especially given this current administration, at least here in the States, where accessibility becomes foundational, not supplemental. You're talking about, companies that are based in the United States, where DEI was basically stripped away by an executive order. It's wishful thinking. I really hope accessibility becomes foundational, but I am not super hopeful on that one, given the importance that our government is putting on it. And then the last thing that I took note of from this list was the cross-platform UX that works. There's a lot of focus on, at least just anecdotally, the experience that you have across apps, no matter how you're interacting with that thing. And this is sort of like the end-to-end user experience or customer experience of a product. And I really think that end-to-end customer experience is becoming more of, like they are suggesting, something that works. Like I said, we can talk a little bit more about it, but that's sort of my top, the things that came to my mind immediately when looking at this list. Now, you were going to say something. I didn't want to interrupt what you were going to say.
I was going to say, should we? I really want to dig into some of these in a lot more detail. Because so should we take them one at a time and strip them out of it?
Let's do it. All right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to suggest. So let's take it away with explainable AI, and that becoming a non-negotiable piece in technology.
I think it's it's maybe slightly optimistic to say that it becomes non-negotiable. I get what the author is trying to say. However, it is still a lot of work to make it happen. And also, I think it is going to be a time-limited function, because I think, and it's part of this trust element, that at the moment we've got two almost cohorts of people, or maybe three, but let's go for two. That you've got people who are just using it, or are very optimistic about using it. And I probably fit more into that category. I see it's a tool and we are going to crack on and use it. But then you've got the skeptic group that it's terrible, it's taking over the world. Even some people that I respect and all that sort of stuff are so adamantly against anything that mentions AI that this means nothing to them anyway. It's not going to be appeasing to them. But the idea that AI is going to be focused to showing under the hood why and how it got to its decisions, is definitely part of this evolution where it needs to be at the moment. It needs to do this in order to engender trust. What do you think, Nick?
I think you're right. I see also where the author is coming from with this, and I wonder if their perspective is more for consumer grade products, because I'm thinking about, something like any of these large language models. What they've done now is they've sort of put themselves into modes. When they're in thinking mode, it's actually explaining the rationale that the LLM is going through to get to the end result that you are trying to get to. And that's nice for when there's a delay in the answer that comes through. But I think you have to think a little bit broader from this perspective when it comes to AI providing support for decision systems, right?
Mhm.
Like decision support systems. I can imagine that over explaining, um, how it got there, it could almost increase the cognitive load of the final decision maker, where they need to make a decision, and there are situations in which those decisions need to happen quickly. Um, the the low risk situations, I can see it being like, okay, provide all the rationale for how the AI got here. In high risk scenarios, it'd be like the provide the key points here that influence your decision, rather than the entire A to Z flow of how you got there. What are the key factors of this decision, and why help support me as the operator in whatever the thing is that I'm doing. I see the value, but I don't know if it's necessarily for every context. I think it really will. Oh no, where's the it depends button? I think it really will depend on who's doing what.
It certainly does. I mean, certainly from my own experience, last couple of years, I've been developing user interfaces for AI, and a key part of that has been explainability. One of the things that we sort of got to very quickly was with so much users, they initially thought that they wanted to see everything under the hood in order to make their decision. You're like, well, actually, we very quickly got to that piece of, well, if you're getting it to explain everything, the whole point of getting the system to do that is so you don't have to worry about it. And one of the most insightful interface elements that I ended up building was a simple RAG, red, amber, green status symbol beside a decision element that was made. So it came out with a proposal for a decision output, and it would have basically a red, amber, green to say green really meant that there was very little behind it, in terms of it was a very simple decision to be made. The number of key elements, very few, and if you wanted to click the button, you could review it in milliseconds. Amber was a certain number. I can't necessarily go into the number or the complexity. And red was, there's a lot of complexity or uncertainty here, and there was a certain nuance behind that. And so that would, if you had a red decision that you're like, okay, you could press it and look under the hood about how it got there, which then it basically allowed the operator to understand whether this was a something that they should be spending more cognitive effort on or not, which was really interesting. So it'll be interesting to see how that sort of stuff comes along and how it goes across to the civilian space. Because as I mentioned in the initial bit, I always go back to the Google Maps demonstration. The fact that we initially, when all this sort of came into play, we wanted to know the optional route, why it chose the route we wanted it to choose. And there's loads of evidence to show that we would go and investigate that. Whereas now we just don't do it. We go, Google Maps is showing the route, and we start driving. In fact, we press go on the route after we've left, so we don't evaluate our routes beforehand. We trust it to tell us where it's going, unless something dramatic happens.
And I've already seen that happening with the Google search results. Like,
yeah, right.
people, you ask somebody to Google something, or somebody's curious about something. I've been in the presence of others, especially over the holiday season, where somebody's Googled a question that we had, and then I know they're reading off the AI answer that's at the top, and they just take it at face value. But then they have these negative opinions towards AI. But
Is that another point, though, actually? And we should probably stop this one in a minute. But
probably
this is fine when we are talking about people who are knowingly using AI elements or LLM elements, which would be, I guess, a bit more high fidelity on the terms we're using. But if you know that you're using in some sort of AI agent, that's fine, and you know that. But if you, it's so pervasive now in a lot of technologies, you're using it quite a lot without knowing that you're using it. Therefore, is there an element of that that we need to play with? Anyway, we should probably move on.
Okay, one more note on this, and yes, I think we do. And all the conversations that we're having around this are important to number 2, so
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. The thing that I think is going to be like, here's my own prediction for 26. I guess that is the year that we're in. Is that we're actually going to go in the opposite direction. There's like all these negative opinions towards AI, and I think one thing, rather than the AI explaining their thought process or how they become to a solution, I think there's going to be like a separate marker on um stuff on the internet, not just with content, but across the internet, that says this was made by a human. And we're going to swing back in that direction, so now we'll have labels on things that will, anyway. So let's talk about agentic UX and human agent ecosystems, because this is also, when it comes to AI agents, there's a lot of interest here for what they can do. And I would leverage the experience of others who have more experience in this. And I only say this because I know Andres is watching, but I think there's there's a lot to be said about human agent ecosystems and where the current state is at. And there's no, well, there are several enterprise consumer grade agents that can do jobs okay-ish. But that's where we're at. And I don't think we're quite at the level of having an ecosystem where you can write a prompt and then agents go off and do certain parts of your prompt. I just don't think we're that sophisticated enough yet with the consumer grade stuff.
Yeah.
In I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think the idea is right to a certain extent. And there is certainly, I can think of a couple of examples about where this is definitely in the mix. I would say that with my own experience, there is a mix of human machine teaming elements, of which a part of that that machine piece is a number of agents working as part of a larger system. But there are, I guess, there's a couple of examples in the civilian space that are marketed quite heavily. And I can't remember the name of the one itself, but it's for a business support tool that identifies 7 or 8 different agents within the tool. That one looks after your social media, one looks after your internal stuff, one will write, do your planning for you, and all they are really are in large handfuls are different large language models that have almost a different background to them, a different knowledge and learning, or a different focus, or probably just really good marketing of the same one. But hey, let's not be too cynical. But I think the idea behind this around, you're not just having 10 LLMs, you're probably having an LLM do one thing, a neural net do another, and different tools for different things, but having an agent. Really what this is leaning into is an agentic manager that manages all of them for you. So you're effectively having a single interface and saying, I want my social media planned and delivered for the year based on these principles, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll have one that's a scheduler, one that's a designer, one that's go off and do it. The nuance behind it is probably more for the suppliers, the delivery people who do that. Whereas from the UX perspective, we just want to see one interface. We just want to say, go away and do. So I think it is probably right, but it's more of an implementation under the hood thing than the thing the consumer sees and different things whizzing off doing different things.
Yeah, we'll need some sort of dashboard.
Yeah, I think it is definitely a thing though. It's how we fundamentally, it leans into how do we manage AI, multiple AI instantiations within any particular product or system.
All right, let's talk about this number 3, dynamic personalized interfaces generated on demand. I think this one's pretty cool to think about in terms of maybe generating these customized views of dashboards for a certain thing, like maybe a human agent ecosystem manager. But I think there's with the vibe coding being a thing, love it or hate it, that people are using it. I wonder if there are procedural ways in which developers could make something that aligns with the product that they're using, but is personalized towards the ask, right? So if you're using like a LLM chatbot assistant, where you say, "Hey, I need a view that does X, Y, and Z on my banking app," and that banking app has some sort of way to translate that request, hook into the data pieces, and display that to you in a personalized view, that would be pretty cool. I don't, again, like, it's hopeful. I really hope it does become a thing, because I can think of a million different use cases for this. But what are your thoughts on a personalized interface generated on demand?
I've two threads. One is when you're designing anything vaguely to do with the safety critical system, this is just going to be interesting. I'm not saying it's a no, because I do love the idea of dynamic dashboards and things like that, to show you what you need to see and what you need to act on. How do you test it? How do you assure such a platform? So that's me looking at that whole safety critical element, which has a whole bunch of stuff around it that you just have to be sure about what's happening, or at least understand the behavior in a vaguely understandable, repeatable way. However, put that in a little box. The rest of it, I think it puts a lot more emphasis on us as UX designers to make sure that things like your style guides and that are absolutely solid, to make sure that you've got all of them elements in place, and that they more about the interoperability, because I've seen quite a lot of style guides that you put them together with all their elements, but you don't necessarily think about every single interaction, because you always think about them in predefined frames of one way or another. What this is really talking about is saying, right, we'll take your toolbox and use that, and so it's going to take a while to get the guidance absolutely right, but it could be quite cool. Like I said, I really like the idea of these dynamic dashboards. That dashboards are really popular at the moment, and I've got whole lots of criticism around that. But the fact that if you can get it to dynamically show what is important to your business or your system or your enterprise, whatever it is, rather than having just 7 or 8 different charts there waiting to you look at every day and that type of thing, it could be really quite cool. The versatility of it could be amazing. We need to make sure it gets away from just being glitzy, showy and stuff, which I kind of feel it's at the moment.
The author writes here in the article that from the design perspective, they're handing off these fixed screens, but rather doing the constraints behind the scenes, establishing those safety rails, the evaluation criteria that shape how the interfaces operate. So the toolkits, like you said, to make these things happen. All right, Barry, you had brought up voice interfaces in your initial reaction. Since 2000, what is it this year? Is this the year?
Yeah, no, it's not the year. It's absolutely not the year. Right. So like I said, when I first started working in voice, it was largely done on a hardware card, and you had to have that done, and it was largely very much keyword driven and with strong structures and things like that. And so you had to, in your head, know what the structure was of the command chain that you were using. You had to hold that as a mental model. Now, you then move into software driven voice control. Great. And that was much better. It would understand different people's accents and things like that. Brilliant. And we now, you come up to now, and we've got things like Alexa and basically home agents and things like that do understand keyword based, but more more conversational AI, voice interaction. But you still have to know what the system can do. So if you've got the Spotify app or whatever going there, you know that you can then get music. But if you haven't got another app, if you haven't got the BBC iPlayer app, then you can't pull up BBC iPlayer stuff. And so you have to sort of know the structures of what it's doing, and it's still got keywords that it's listening for. We're not really, in my opinion, going to see true useful voice technology that can replace whatever else is going on, until you can have truly conversational AI that you don't need, conversational interaction where you can just walk in and say, turn the lights on. And it will do that, and you don't have, without any pre-setting up, it will understand that it wants you to switch the lights on in the room that you're in, and do that now, or set the temperature and things like that. It's miles better than it was in 2020. Don't get me wrong, but it's still miles away from being useful.
I see where this is coming from. This is coming from a lot of this stems from AI and how a lot of these LLMs have voice modes now.
Mhm.
And fine. I think we still need kind of along the lines of number 2, the agentic layer. I think we need that agentic layer over all the other things that we use as somebody to interpret what we say into commands. Somebody wrote, this was a couple years ago at this point, but when LLMs were, when the voice mode just came out, they had, or maybe it wasn't even voice mode. It was taking a transcript of what somebody had said and translate it into a home assistant command. I almost said the word. I'm sorry. I didn't want to wake anybody's devices. Into a home assistant command. So when they would say, "Oh, it's a little cold in here," right? Then that thing that they wrote would translate that into turn the thermostat up by 10 degrees and send it to their voice assistant. So that way, they would talk naturally, but the things that they were saying were interpreted by that middle agent layer. It wasn't truly an agent. It was an LLM processing that stuff and then turning it into a command for the home device. So that way, the heat turns on when they say it's a little cold in here. So I think something like that, to say, I want to listen to some music. They know which app to go to and which playlist to play, depending on the context where you're at. Is it what volume to play it at? Are you in a gym? Do you have your headphones in? Are you in your car? Do you want to blast the music? Like, those types of things. Okay. We're at number 5 and we're about halfway through the hour. So I think this might be a full hour breakdown here. We'll see. Let's get into this this number 5, and then we'll take a little break and we'll come back to these. Number 5, micro interactions becoming the language. So the key thing here from the article is that micro interactions are serving, or they anticipate that these micro interactions will serve as the primary communication between interfaces and users, where these actions are confirmed without requiring people to pause and digest information, or confirmation messages and provide feedback. I don't know. What do you think, Barry? That seems a little.
I know, and that's not a thing. So I think there is definitely a digital generational aspect to this, because I think that the ways that we, in fact, I would say there's probably a difference in the way that I interact with things like phones and things like them and my devices, and it'll be different to the way that you interact with your devices, which will definitely be very different to the way that my kids interact with the devices. It's almost this is almost the emoji argument of how do I use an emoji versus how do you use an emoji. What does your eggplant mean to you, basically, is what this is talking about. And so then when you add on these micro interactions, yes, it's it adds context and interaction with what you're doing. The thing I find hard with it is when you're designing stuff, why are you doing it? What are you trying to elicit out of the micro interaction? And therefore, how do you make sure that message, if you're using this as a primary language rather than just a nice to have cool little thing, how are you making sure that your messaging is getting across in the way that you intend? And I think that some of this might be just down to I'm an older designer, and maybe I think that there is definitely in the way that language itself changes and the way we use it, these type of things end up being a nuance of language and an evolution. It's still not the language, though, I don't think.
So really what we're talking about here is when we talk about micro interactions, we're talking about things like when you've they have a couple examples in here, but like the decorative flourishes. So a button shifting color when you hover over it, or a progress indicator filling, a celebration emoji when you finish a task. These are heavily considered like these nice to have details. And the author even says they were considered nice, polished, but weren't really necessary. And I guess the argument here is that those are becoming more necessary. And I would disagree that they are becoming more necessary. I think that as we have more capacity to work on things, we could send agents off to do things like these nice to have things. I think there's probably still going to be a primary focus from a design perspective, from a human factors perspective, to make sure that that UI is usable and molds to the way that they're thinking about things, their mental map, their mental model, the way that they are expecting it to go in terms of the flow, and how, you know, from a system perspective, it actually makes sense to interject these things in the moment. And I think those are the things that we focus on because we know that those are the most important things. If you don't have a system that works for you or that works in the way that you intend it to, who cares if a celebration emoji comes up? I'm super frustrated by the point that I even get to the finishing task, that it doesn't matter. And, oh, yay, an emoji. Okay, great. It's like, it doesn't matter. So sending off agents to do those nice little flourishes I think is going to be a thing that maybe as we have more capacity and work with these agents, we can, you know, it's a capacity issue. It's not a technology issue. We know how to do it.
I guess that there is an element here as well, is when you look at the author's list of elements. So button shifting color and progress indicator filling. I don't think that's a micro interaction stuff. That's almost a key tenet of good UX design, where you're showing stuff that is a button is available or it's not, or a progress indicator. The flourish, like you say, is the little pot of confetti that goes off when something is finished, or you have a that celebration piece. That's possibly the flourish.
Not to nitpick, but I think the progress indicator filling is literally, is there an animation from point A to point B, or does it just stack from 1 to 2, right? Which doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, true. But I think there is. I think there's possibly something that I think the way we've already ripped it to shreds to a certain extent. I think there's an element here that there's possibly confusion over what is good UX and what is the nice to have stuff now becoming necessary? No, I don't think it is. It's still nice to have. So no, they don't win that one, I don't think.
All right, well, we'll continue the roast after.
We liked some of these so far.
We do. Yeah, I don't want this to be a firing squad because there's a lot of the good stuff.
Oh, no, the good stuff is in the second half.
The good stuff is in the second half. We'll get to the second half right after this. Stay with us. Are you tired of boring lectures and textbooks on human factors and UX? Well, grab your headphones and get ready for a wild ride with the Human Factors Minute podcast. Each minute is like a mini crash course packed with valuable insights and information on various organizations, conferences, usability methods, theories, models, certifications, tools, and much more. We'll take you on a journey through the fascinating world of human factors, from the ancient history to the latest trends and developments. Listen in as we explore the field and discover new ways to enhance the user experience. From the Think Aloud protocol to the critical incident technique, focus groups, iterative design, we'll make sure that you're the smartest person in the room. Tune in on the 10th, the 20th, and the last day of every month for a new and interesting tidbit related to human factors. Don't miss out on the Human Factors Minute podcast, your ultimate source for all things human factors.
Human Factors Cast brings you the best in human factors news, interviews, conference coverage, and overall fun conversations into each and every episode we produce. But we can't do it without you. The Human Factors Cast Network is 100% listener supported. All the funds that go into running the show come from our listeners. Our patrons are our priority, and we want to ensure we're giving back to you for supporting us. Pledges start at just $1 per month and include rewards like access to our monthly Q&As with the hosts, personalized professional reviews, and access to the full library of Human Factors Minute, a weekly podcast where the hosts break down unique, obscure, and interesting human factors topics in just 1 minute. Patreon rewards are always evolving, so stop by patreon.com/humanfactorscast to see what support level may be right for you. Thank you, and remember, it depends.
Yes, huge thank you as always to our Patreon patrons. You truly keep the lights on over here, and everything is running because of you. We really couldn't do this without you, and really appreciate everything that you give to the show. We seriously, you're the greatest of all time. You're the goats, as the kids would say. Do kids say that? I don't know. What do kids say now? Let's get into the second half. Barry, you said that the second half was going to have the good stuff, and we start with this one where AR is transitioning from demonstration to daily application. And I said I didn't want this to be a firing squad, so I'm going to quietly mention like two things and then Homer Simpson into this bush over here. I think there's two things that I want to bring up, and the first thing is that yes, technology is getting better. There are many makers out there that are providing devices that are less cumbersome and less what's the word I'm looking for? They're less cumbersome and there's less barriers to like putting the thing on and using it. They're coming now in like glasses forms. Great. When you think about augmented reality, there's still a lot of barriers that we haven't figured out, like battery life, like projection mapping into your own personalized environment, the actual apps on the thing that make it effective, and the integration of those apps. There's still a lot of things that we still need to figure out. I don't think we're quite at the daily application, but you know what? I'm going to be optimistic and say, yes, December 31st, 2026, we will be closer.
Well, we've got to be closer. Closer to what? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, I think, to be fair, you're right in that where we've come from to where we are now, we are in a very different space. I mean, even go back 15 years, Google Glass comes out, and people were having all sorts of uses, trying to work out how to use this augmented reality capability. And more recently, I think the biggest push out is what the Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses that have had a number of different interactions with them. Fundamentally, this boils down to what makes it useful. And there are some specific jobs where, yes, absolutely, this sort of thing is helpful, as long as it can map the terrain that you're working with and you're using that augmented piece well. Some people seem to think that if you can just throw up your email on your glasses, that's augmented reality. It's not. That's just a mixed reality of being able to use, being able to see through things while you're doing. It's got to actually allow you to interact with that environment in some way, or at least allow what you're seeing on your glasses to be interacted with the environment in some way. And there are only so many times and places where that's actually truly useful on a daily civilian application. So you or I wearing them, I still want some because I love playing with this sort of gadget. There are other roles though where you could actually see we're probably at a place where some of it can be used. So maintenance types tasks, the surgery has always been one of these use cases that this is crying out to use well. We still haven't got around the how do you keep them sterile and things like that, but we're probably closer. So I think I'm going to lean into what you said. I think by December we will definitely be closer to better be it being used. But to quote a colleague of mine here in the UK, the way we use terms like augmented reality are nothing like the actual reality of using them in the first place. So yeah, can we stop shooting these now? We've got to have some.
We're gonna have some fun. We were optimistic about that one. December, we're gonna be closer. Yes. All right. Number 7 here: personalization that respects boundaries. The author here says people want these personalized experience until they realize what the system needs to know to do them. And I think they bring up Netflix's recommendation engine, and they opt in to personalize when they thumbs up something. That's kind of what you signed up for. But the difference is, like, take like an information broker and having advertisements being um, shown to you because of things that you may have hovered on a website to, or things that you glanced at once, is what they say here. And uh, the hope here is that these personalization things will respect your boundaries when it comes to privacy. And we can talk a little bit more about privacy later. But this non-intrusive way to present some of these personalization things is you know what, I'm going to be hopeful and say yes, this is going to become a thing. No, don't shoot it down.
I'm not going to shoot it down. I think there's an element here about we want to have our cake and eat it, because really what we're talking about is not whether I'm getting shown the right advert on Google. That's how it manifests. Is we see, oh, why is my Facebook? I'm just searching for something on Google. Why is Facebook suddenly showing me things that I was looking at? That isn't, for me, the sinister part of this. That's actually just good business and good marketing, in the fact that I know that you're interested in something, and I'm going to do what I can to put my product in front of you. We have that when you walk into any grocery store, any shop, at physical shop, that shop is laid out. It's not just randomly laid. Some of them are, but it's not randomly laid out for whatever. That everything in that shop is strategically put together to appeal to the people who are going to walk through the door. So from that perspective, this isn't that isn't the way that they use data isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, it's the undercurrent of it. It's the how they sell the data to each other. That basically you're providing data, and then they are profiting off you, not from your interaction with them, but just off your interaction being sold to somebody else. It's the way that it's sold into the black market, the dark web, and things like that. It's the way that the governments use the data without you knowing. I mean, I was shocked. I shouldn't have been, but I was shocked when I was looking at a product that came out of CEX. In one of the articles that we've been looking at, and there is a women's hormone tracker, and my wife turned around and said, "Oh, just if you do mention that, just make sure to recommend to every woman in the United States that they don't take that up, they don't use it, because anything you put into that system can be sold or obtained by the government and used against them, particularly in post Roe versus Wade." And you're like, wow, didn't even. And if you're just looking at this sort of stuff, would it enter your mind to think that deep into how your data is being used? So we get all up in arms about how your data is being used to promote stuff to you. I think that's nothing. It's the deep, it's the sinister, it's the stuff that goes on with your data that you don't know. So how we go about this, given what you mentioned earlier about how different governments are dealing with data, how we deal with this is going to be quite interesting. And I don't think any how we manage that and be less opaque about it, I think would be a really, really good thing. But it's going to take some big players It's going to take your Metas, your Microsofts.
Well,
to
here's
together.
here's some direct evidence that the tide is shifting, and I like to be positive. So the thing here is that yeah, we're talking about data, we're talking about our rights with privacy. I will say that oftentimes there are California is at the forefront of some of these privacy initiatives, and one that just came out this week is the drop but I don't know if it's like the drop act or drop function, drop delete done, delete request and opt out platform. That's what it stands for.
Right.
And what this does is allows California residents to log in and have these data brokers delete your data just like that.
Wow. Cool.
That's what it's for. And this is for anyone who's a California resident. It's privacy.ca.gov/drop. So you can go and do this right now. If you're a California resident, you can get started. You can sign in and verify your eligibility by saying you live in California. So I couldn't do it here in Arizona. Create your profile, and then you submit your request, and then boom, all your data is gone. And that is awesome. And it's good to see that things like this are happening. Okay. We have just a few more, so let's kind of speed run through these as we have about 13 minutes left. Let's see. So we talked about personalization that respects boundaries, accessibility becoming foundational and not supplemental. You seem pretty hopeful on this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think the idea that we build accessibility into what we do as standard rather than it being a bolt-on is a really good thing. And there are standards out there that that allow you to check for these sort of things, but they're always almost an extra rather than being the way we do work. So I think if we can build this in, and really it's about there is a business case for doing this, in the fact that we normally think about people, when we talk about accessibility, people being blind but still being able to access stuff. Actually, it's just being able to change the size of the text. So people with different reading styles or different reading abilities can engage with that stuff, as well as having the big stuff like read aloud and things like that. So accessibility is becoming broader. If you look at if you've got an iPhone or an Android, look at the accessibility functions that are available within the accessibility area. That is much broader than it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you might have some changes of light and changes of size and stuff, whereas now there are so many different elements that you can tune your device for it to be more accessible to you.
Yeah, I think this is going places. I think there's there's a lot of programs, at least that are government funded here, that require projects to adhere to something called 508 compliance, section 508, and it has a lot to do with like the web content accessibility stuff. And so I think building that in is good, and having a lot of companies that do government contracts, they'll need to do this by default almost anyway. So why not roll it into the other stuff that they're working on? Yeah, it makes sense to me. It tracks. Even though I jested in the original thing that this is probably not going to be as much of an importance given the current administration. I think it still is important, and I think a lot of people know it's important. And like you said, accessibility is a good business case. You design for all, and then you design for a special population, and everyone benefits from it. So I'm right there with you. All right, this cross-platform UX that works. This one's cool to me. I think I really do think there's a lot of focus on this cross-platform UX, and I think it comes from everything from like shopping all the way down to like actual utility apps, right? So I'm thinking about two examples in particular that not everyone, but a lot of people have experience with. One of which I'll just mention, like Amazon, right? They're doing a good job. No matter if you log on to their mobile app to buy something or the desktop, it's kind of a seamless experience. The things that you looked at on one, and I know that's a very simplistic answer, or it's a very simplistic example, but it's an example that works, right? The things that you look at on one platform are going to be there on another platform. The lists that you do, it's applied on both. The other thing that I think works really well is, and this is a selfish plug for you to get on our Discord server. But Discord is also a really good one that works where you can log in on your phone, log in on any device, and chat seamlessly across, and those messages sync and all that stuff. Again, very simplistic thing. It's mainly just a call for you to get into our Discord so you can have conversations with us. We're bored and want to have conversations. But I think there are many other scenarios where this would work well, like task software, or any of these pieces where they would need to hold information on a database and then retrieve it when you access it on a different platform, whether it's a dedicated device or your phone or your desktop or your work computer or whatever. I think we're all working towards a much better future here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, for me, a really good example at the moment, I think I've mentioned them twice already. Microsoft have really got their game together with Office 365. You can be doing it on the app. You can have a web version of it. You can do it on your phone, on a tablet, and you've largely got access. So it's smooth across the different bits. I can be working it on my laptop and then pick it up, edit the same document in the evening on my phone. And have other people playing and on the same document at the same time. So I can choose the most appropriate UX that I want to engage with. And I think that's where a lot of these are going. It's almost less important that you have a specific interaction with the app. It's the data that's important. It's the content that you're working with that is now the prime driver. And the more accessible you make that, you make that data then irrelevant of the platform. So whether you're producing an app and it's going on to the Play Store or the App Store or wherever, you've got to be able to do the interactions and be able to do the same thing across all of them. You want a seamless experience. And we definitely working towards that, because again, the business benefit is there. The more you can have that seamless cross-platform engagement means that your audience is going to stay with your product for longer and engage with them. So that's absolutely something that has made a huge amount of progress, I think, over the past 5 years, and I think will do even more so over the next 12 months.
Yeah. Last one here. Biometric authentication becomes the norm. I'm kind of surprised that this is a prediction, because I already kind of feel like it is, but maybe it's just for the way that I use it. I use my thumbprint to get into my phone. I use it for the passkey authentication when I get into certain programs and log into certain accounts. To me, it's there, and I do it. And I think the big point here is mainly not necessarily the biometrics piece, but this passwordless login, where you enter a verification code instead of a password, or you enter in a authenticator code, or you hit the numbers that are matching on the screen. And I think it's these ways that we reduce the cognitive load of needing to remember a password, and providing other options to verify that, yes, it is in fact the person that we want to get into this account that is trying to get there. And I think we're close, if we're not there already. When passwords will disappear, I don't think that's this year, but I think it will go away even more by December 31st.
I think you're right. I think we're definitely moving that way. I think, however, there is a lot of, and I would say larger organizations, I would say probably more defense-oriented organizations as well, that will just grip the password like they just don't want it to die. Yet they still insist on 12 to 14 characters and make them really hard to remember. And yet you must have a separate password for every single system, which nobody ever does. We won't use password for platform programs and stuff like that. For some reason, cyber professionals are really reluctant to get rid of the traditional password, when yet on a grassroots basis, we all use Face ID on our phones. As you said, you can use fingerprint to get into your phone and things like that. Biometric is almost a grassroots movement that really the big players need to embrace. And this is it's a real UX issue, because just before Christmas, I was part of a panel at a conference that was highlighting the fact that a lot of security personnel, cybersecurity personnel, we're saying, oh yes, you need this. We're going, no, you need to make it usable. You need to make it so people engage with it and it's easier. It shouldn't be security shouldn't be a dirty word. Security should be integrated, but there is an element around security. Security still likes to be special. This will hopefully get away from that.
Yeah. Well, that's the story for this week. Huge thank you to our friends over at UX Collective, and special shout out to the author of this paper is Aaron Bomick. They're the chief design officer at SAP. So a lot of these are obviously driven by industry perspective. But huge thank you. This is a great article for us to discuss. If you want to follow along with all the other articles that we post, we have a Discord, like I just mentioned. You can join us for more discussion on these stories and much more. We're not going to take a break because we already did that. Let's just get into the last part of the show. We'll skip it. Came from for this week. We have plenty of discussion to talk about for next time. But Barry, what is your one more thing?
So I'll have a quick shout out to say, in the UK, we just had sort of snow flurries, and as I think I mentioned in the pre-show, currently sat in the middle of waiting for a big storm to come and smack us in the UK. So we just can't deal with snow. We can't deal with anything outside of our usual mediocre temperature. So everything ground to a halt this week, which I just found from a human factors perspective, I just find really amusing that we're in the vast edge case, and then everybody's going, why can't the council grit our roads? And the problem is like, well, because we only do it like 2 or 3 times a year, because the rest of the time it's just wet. Anyway, so there's a whole edge case expectation piece. My really one more thing, which I mentioned at the top of the show, is I had a bit of a mini project over the Christmas period to really look at how AI and LLMs are being used to develop software, having spoken to a few friends of mine now who are software developers and how they're using AI in their day-to-day. Now, I used to be a software engineer in, as I guess, my first career, and so, but haven't really kept up with the software engineering standards, and so just leave that to other, more qualified people. But let's delve in, let's try a few different tools and really try and develop some of the software I've been trying to develop for a long time. And so one of the things I've been trying to develop is a human factors tools for doing user trials and measurement and things like that, and stuff that I've been trying to develop for the longest time. I was able to use 2 or 3 different LLM based platforms to develop the software in minutes. Something that would have taken me a long time, and actually to a decent quality, to something that I was able to test, go into the code, look at it, and do all that sort of stuff. And I have to say, it's blown me away. Developing proper full-on stuff that I could actually go in and get into the back of. So it's not just developing something that's just a fancy bit of UX, but actually looking at the stuff in the background and how it's put it together. I had great fun, and a proper busman's holiday bit of a thing, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Look out, world! Barry's vibe coding.
Yeah,
look out. My one more thing's very, very different from yours. It's you ever get a power tool in your hands and you just feel unstoppable?
Yes.
I received a weed whacker as a gift from my parents this holiday season, and man, that thing is fun. It just has so much power. It's an electric one, so you don't have to carry on the cord with you, and it just it does the spinning and the weed whacking, and then you're just whacking everything, and you just, oh, it's so much fun. And then you spend an hour out there, and then you realize that you're covered in dirt and peppered with rocks, and just you should have not worn shorts and flip-flops. So this is your reminder to wear PPE whenever you can. It's a PSA for you. OSHA would be very proud of me, I think, for the gear that I was wearing. Shorts and flip-flops with glasses, no protective goggles. So yeah, don't do that. Don't be like me. Be like Barry and vibe code. But that's it for today, everyone. If you like this episode and enjoy some of the discussion about the upcoming stuff you can expect for 2026, I'll encourage you to go listen to any of our other prediction-based episodes and see how wrong we got it. Comment wherever you're listening with what you think of this story this week. For more in-depth discussion, you can always join us on our Discord community and comment over there. Visit our official website, sign up for our newsletter, stay up to date with all the latest Human Factors news. If you like what you hear, you want to support the show, there's a few ways that you can do that. One, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're watching or listening right now. That is free for you to do and really helps out the show. Two, the thing that helps out a little bit more is that you can tell your friends about us. If you're embarrassed by us, then what are you doing here? I don't know. You should just tell your friends about us so they can be embarrassed too. Or three, if you have the financial means to and want to contribute to this show that way, you can consider supporting us on Patreon, and that goes to much more than just the show. That helps support the lab and the folks that we have in the lab creating fun and interesting ways, which we'll always have more stuff to talk about later. As always, links to all of our socials and our website are in the description of this episode. Mr. Barry Kirby, thank you for being on the show today. Where can our listeners go and find you if they want to talk about vibe coding?
If you want to come talk about that, find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, most socials except for the ones we don't talk about anymore. As well as if you want to listen to me chat to really cool and inspiring individuals and teams and groups in the Human Factors community, find me on 1202 The Human Factors Podcast at 1202podcast.com.
As for me, I've been your host, Nick Rome. You can find me on Discord and across social media at Nick_Rome. If you're watching live, stay tuned for the post show. For the rest of you, thanks again for tuning into Human Factors Cast. Until next time, it depends.
Music. Can't move to a
Music's there. We're good. Wow. What a show.
That was a longie.
That was a long one. And if I had a nickel for every time I heard that one, wow. It's the post show, everybody. Welcome to the post show. You're here now. If you weren't here before, you're here now. I meant long shows. That's what I meant. Let's talk about. So speaking of length of show, God, I can't get away from this. Help!
You're digging your own hole, buddy.
Speaking of long shows, before in the pre-show, I had asked chat to put some guesses in there. This is your last chance to put your guesses into when we cut out all the ums and ers from the audio version of the show. How many minutes of runtime get cut on average from the audio version in a 1-hour show? And I will reveal Barry's answer shortly. We got one from Andres in the chat, who is also a lab member, of 10 minutes. Barry submitted his before anyone had put them in the chat, so he's unbiased. And his 2 minute and 30. Wait, no. Is that 2 minutes and 30 seconds, or is that
2.5 minutes?
Okay,
Right.
Okay. 2.5 minutes.
I'm sort of going. So logically, the way I sort of worked this out was, doesn't take is less than a second to do. I do a lot of them. However, by the time you chop most of them out, it was sort of got to pile up, because you also said that, you know, in some of the versions we take out the ad breaks and stuff like that as well. So it's there around it still stays around the 55 minutes sort of max. So it can't be that long, but it's still going to be a chunk. So I'm going for basically 2.5 minutes.
All right. Last chance to put it in the comments. I'm going to reveal the answer in just a minute. Okay. The answer is approximately 8 minutes.
Wow.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Yeah.
I am surprised.
The average runtime goes from about 60 down to 52-ish.
Right. Yeah.
Or 50. I've seen a range from 50 to 54. So that's kind of the range that we're looking at there. And that's before I add back in all the other stuff. So
there we go.
Quite a few ums and ers that we say in our presentation, but it is natural. And when I remove them from so Is this too inside baseball? I don't think this is too inside. I think this is fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
Y'all want to see something that's fascinating?
Are you going to show stuff now?
I'm gonna show you. This Descript build will expire in 3 days. What? Try downloading the app. I need to do an update. Okay. Yeah. Let me do a little show and tell, because this is fun. This is Human Factors. When we put together the show for you all, we Human Factors it so that way it's a nice package that is. Digging my hole. It's a nice package for you to consume, no matter what platform is that you are consuming it on, and we take great pride in that. So much so that we are making efforts to document that places. That's a little bit of a tease, right? Okay, come on. You can.
So in the grand scheme of things, if people weren't interested, they wouldn't be listening to us in the first place. So clearly there must be a thing about understanding how it's done. And I guess the other point I would just make, where Nick very kindly says we do this and we do that, there's no way about this. Nick does most of the heavy lifting here. I just sit here and look pretty.
It's a team effort. I couldn't do it without you.
That's true, because I mean somebody's got to carry the show, but you do all the work in the background.
Okay, I'll take that. I will take that. All right, let me just get this set up so that way I can show you the fun stuff here with last time's episode. All right, so here we go. Say all the ums and ers. I just got to reconfigure this a little bit so that way everyone can see the fun. Let me get rid of this graphic here really quick. Okay. So what you're looking at here is a transcript. This is our Descript platform. We can edit in Descript such that if I were to delete this, it would just string it together across. So if I were to play this live, you would actually see a visual cut, because I have cut the it actually cuts the video there, right? So if I go back and play this, I think I'm sharing audio, so apologies about that.
It is rather good.
Right, you saw the visual cut though, right?
It is rather good.
It's kind of choppy, but orally, you could hear that it was fine. And it is a double word, right? It'll remove things like that. But let me just show you this runtime here is 2 hours and 3 minutes. Because this includes the, hold on. Maybe I copied the wrong one. Nah. Here, I'll just show you a little bit of behind the scenes here, because we'd have to do this anyway. So we want to cut out the pre-show. There's some shortcuts I use to find the stuff that I need to find. All right, cut out the pre-show. Just go. Page up. Come on. There, page up. Bye. So there's our start. This is the Watch Nick work hour. This is me getting practice for, and then until next time. Until next time, it depends. There it is, and post show. And then now I can take this and come all the way down to the bottom. And go boom and bye. All right, so let's look at our runtime now. It's 1 hour and 3 minutes, 27 seconds before we've done anything to this. We can take out a couple other things. So Human Factors Cast. All caps. Human Factors Cast. I'm your host, Nick Rome. Yes, I am. I'm talking to myself at night. All right, let's see here. So we would take out the commercials. Human Factors minute is there. Right. Take all that out. Now what our runtime is 1 minute and 2 seconds. Or sorry, 1 hour, 2 minutes. Now let's take out the It came from Bumper. Actually, it doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. The important thing is that we got the big stuff out of the way, right? The intro, we got the pre and post show. Okay, so now let's take a look. There's a tool here that's really nice called Remove Filler Words.
Ooh.
And this little toggle here is what makes it listenable in the audio format. If it would sound unnatural, it doesn't cut them. But it does cut them if it sounds okay to just cut them out. You can see all the underlines is where our offenses are. So you can see me getting the preamble here. There's a lot of offenses. I think you have less offenses than you give yourself credit for. Right, you can just kind of take a look. Right now it's finding all those instances, which is why it's going there. I, you know. This me? This is me on a monologue. Okay. All right, here's one where you have a ton. That makes me feel a little better. So anyway, it's looking right now for all of these instances in which these filler words or duplicate words show up. And you can actually filter this. Appears 289 times. I think the interesting thing is that it's the repeated words that do it for us, Barry.
Yeah, exactly.
473.
Yeah. No.
Isn't that crazy?
It is interesting. I guess there is a lot of time. Certainly, historically, I've had just a wow. Even my phone wants to join the conversation.
Okay, so it's found all the cuts that are not harsh. And so if we remove those, look at our runtime goes from 102 to 57. So it's removed about 5 minutes from last episode. And that's just removing the cuts that are not harsh. So there you go. That's a little bit of behind the scenes.
Cool.
Oh, someone on LinkedIn. I can't see because it doesn't say. It's on your account. First time tuning in. It definitely won't be the last great show, guys. Thank you. Whoever that was on LinkedIn. It just says LinkedIn user. So thank you. Maybe you can get an answer. Might be not showing for privacy reasons. So anyway, that's the behind the scenes of what we do. Well, yeah, what we do every time to make this show a fun listening experience for you, depending on the platform. And what I didn't show is that I have several variations of those, like a video version, an audio version, a version that is exclusive to our patrons, which is the full audio version. So if you like listening to this stuff, we do a stitch of the main show that's produced with the pre and post show. So that way you get the full listening experience on our Patreon. Otherwise, you have to come here, wherever you're watching right now. You have to. Yeah.
If you're a true fan of the show, you should be wanting to experience the live event and be coming and doing this. But I also appreciate that not everybody can stay up at this time, and but I think the most authentic way to appreciate what we're doing is to do this and come and interact. Like, tell us what you're doing. Like, so the person in the messages up there is Adele, and so great to have you aboard, Adele. And I can't believe it's the first time you're tuning in, but I'll take that, and hope you tune in for some more. So she says it won't be the last, which is good.
While we're talking about this will probably be my one more thing for next week. We just recently established a game night between us and some friends.
Cool.
And that's something that we've wanted to do for a very long time because we have board games that are burning holes in our closet that they're not getting used. And we had great fun last Saturday, and Saturday seems to be the day that works for everybody for a whole bunch of reasons. So I'm very excited.
So what's the game of choice? What did you play last week?
Last week we played what we had access to. So we played. We didn't want to start it with too many like overthink things. So we just played a couple party games, like a couple card games. One of which was You're Getting Old, okay. Which it focuses on things that old people do, and then kind of talks. There's like an opportunity to be redeemed if you know some like young person slang or know of a thing that would be a young person's thing.
Cool. Okay.
You know, and you know, some of those might be quite topical, but some of those can be fun like can you name like 5 people in the Spotify top 100 list right now, right? Like that's kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was one of them. We also played Cranium After Dark, which is a ton of fun. Which, if you're unfamiliar with the platform, you have to do an action. So it's where you can like mime or make stuff with clay or describe something by doing physical expressions, and then you are drawing with your eyes closed or something like that. And so you have to do all that. That's fun. And then we played one other one, but I'm drawing a blank on it. Oh, Horrible Therapist.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one. So.
Horrible Therapist is one where you kind of put together this cartoon story of a therapist, and the premise is that you flip over a prompt, and then there's one person that chooses the answer to the prompt, right? So it'd be like, so what happened at the wedding might be the prompt, and then there would be 3 answer cards, and then the person would choose an answer card like, oh, well, I ended up with a flat tire or something. This is a very, very PG answer, but I ended up with a flat tire. Right? What happened at the wedding? I ended up with a flat tire. Boom. You put the answer down, and then everybody has to provide a treatment for the flat tire. So the treatments are everybody else's contribution. And then the person who chose the answer gets to choose who made the best funny. It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity or Apples to Apples, if you've ever played either of those, that kind of put together the story. So that's the other thing that we played.
It's interesting. We've certainly most of my team, they're all very much into their games. In fact, one of my team definitely has walls upon walls full of all the different types of games. We have a not insubstantial collection, but we found out over the years that all of us are very different types of game players. So, what game types you like? So, some of them like the ones that will take you 2, 3, 4 hours to play, and you have to work through all the evolutions and stuff like that. I've tried a lot of them games. My attention span just doesn't work for it. I like games that are, I guess, a bit lighter and frothier. Is the way I describe them. So they make the event, so you're doing they're a good mechanism for socializing and things like that. There's some basic games that I do go back to, but it's interesting seeing how different people work with different games. So the kids, I say kids, they're not that small anymore. They'll come up with some card games, and so Uno is made a resurgence at the moment, with all the different variations of Uno you can get. In fact, Amanda, as the team part of the team presence this year, everybody in the team got a different version of Uno, which was quite interesting. until fairly recently, I'd never played Uno. But then there's all sorts of different ones that I don't know whether it's out in the States, but there's one like called Taco Cat Go Cheese Pizza, where it's just basically you got that, and so that ends up being brutal, which is fantastic. But again, you can play it with it really, you can play it with like nephews and nieces all the way through to grandparents and stuff like that, and engages. So one of the things that we wanted to suggest for the longest time is at conference, there is always a quiz night that's put on, and it's always fantastic. It's always brilliant. So normally it's normally like the pre-night of conference. There's this entertainment put on it, and it's fantastic. But then it's also been suggested that maybe for one of the nights we put on a board gaming night. And we just take down a massive collection of games and sort of tabletop games, and people, because whilst they are becoming more and more popular, they're still not. It's still not considered mainstream. So a lot of people might enjoy playing a lot of the tabletop games. So
I think speaking of conferences, I think I'm going to treat the lab to an escape room this year or something like that, where we all go out and do an escape room together.
Yeah. It's years since I've done one of them. I used to work with a guy that was him and his wife's thing. They love to go and do all the different type of escape rooms they could get their hands on, and so that was there. And they knew them all. Whereas I've done a couple of them. I haven't done loads, but they're quite good as long as you keep the level of seriousness right.
Yeah,
because you clearly got to win, but you don't want to kill each other over it.
We're gonna do one of those like at home murder mystery escape room type things. We're gonna do one of those next week for game night. So I'm excited to do that.
I'll see how that goes. There's definitely becoming more of a market for them sort of things. So that's really cool. So
it's interesting because the last time I did one of those in like a board game format was we had one of the friends that we're doing game night with was actually up visiting us at the time before we moved, and it was when I had lost my job. I was like, I got this Star Wars escape room that I just want to do tonight. Like, is that okay? And then everyone was like, yeah, that's fine. So we did that one. That was cool. And I just needed enough time to go by before I try it again. And then the other thing that I was going to mention was it slipped my mind. Jeez.
I don't know if we've talked about this before, but have you played around with D&D?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We did that as our Christmas event, not this year, but last year. I'd never really done it before. We tried, but I think you need somebody who's a dungeon master who can really make it work. And when we had our works due, our dungeon master was brilliant because she knew that some of us had done it before, some of us hadn't.
Right.
But it was I found that a weird experience because you sort of, I like things that are sort of on rails to a certain extent, and yes,
that depends on who you play with.
Well, and it is, isn't it? When you can sort of turn around and say, right, well, can I do this? And they're like, well, yes, you can roll or do whatever you're doing, and then you sort of. It wasn't until I saw some other people's descriptions of it as it's not a competition. It's you're all telling a story together,
right.
And
collaborative storytelling.
Yeah. Whereas I was sort of trying to wrap my head around. Well, how do you win this? And actually, winning isn't in the winning. The winning is in the participation.
Is literally the friends that you made along the way.
Yeah. So yeah, it's something I might want to try more of, but it's still a mechanism I still struggle with.
I remember what I was going to say. My birthday falls on game night this year, so guess what I'm going to do? Look at all these Star Wars games.
Nobody can say no.
No one can say no. Yeah, so I'm very excited. The other thing that I'll mention is over the holidays, we had a lot of opportunities to play like Jackbox games. And there's a lot of innovation happening in that space, not just with the Jackbox series of games, but other publishers and makers of those types of games. So I don't know if you've got this. It might be region dependent, but Netflix has recently started doing games on their platform where it's streaming games and you play on your phone and everybody everyone does their own thing on their phone, and then it's like the same format as Jackbox, right? So we played Boggle. Right. We played Boggle, which, if you're unfamiliar, is like a word search game. And then Party Crasher, which is kind of like Werewolf, where you have to kind of pretend like you know the thing and then explain why you know, or why your hint fits. They also have like a Lego game on there that's full of mini games. And then Amazon's doing their stuff with Luna too, and they have like a Snoop Dogg Judgment game, which whatever. But there's other ones on there. That's the only one that I can remember at this time. But there's a lot of innovation in that space, and so it was funny because I got it all hooked up to my Steam Deck. So now no matter where we go, we can just pull that stuff up, and it works great.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think the closest we've had to that recently was for my eldest daughter's birthday, and so it was a Q&A thing where you can set your own quizzes and stuff, and everybody can take part. Everybody scans a QR code and you answer it on your phone. So an approach. But she wanted all the questions to be about her. So the idea being that she'd be the only person who could win by the end of it. So I spent a fair bit of time putting this quiz together all about her, and she had friends playing and all that sort of stuff. And she was quite upset when she didn't actually win in the end. There was people more about her than her.
Oh my gosh!
Which was quite. I mean, I deliberately made it like that because I knew that she wanted to win, and I was like, well, you can't have that because where's the fun in it? So, but yes, fun times to be had.
I know we're close to time.
Oh, we are, yes.
But at some point, I think it would be fun to stream a game. I know we had talked about the Relax, It's Just a Turbulence as one contender for that. But, they've got Exploding Kittens. Oh, that's loud. They've got Exploding Kittens on Netflix now.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. And, Pictionary, Dead Man's Party, Tetris Time Warp. I am kind of curious how this might work. Hang on. If I send you a QR code, can you scan it really quick? I don't want just anybody to be in on this game. I just want to do a quick tech test. We won't do an actual game. But here, let me send this to you in Discord really quick.
Oh.
Scan this with your phone. Tech test. I'm going to do it here too.
Yep, I'm in.
Awesome. Hang on. Where am I? There I am. Hang on. This tech test will start. Okay. Hold on. So
what's this? Oh, this Netflix. Okay, cool.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I need to mute this.
So while you're saying Adele's just dug herself out the hole by the fact that this is the first time her listening live. So clearly she's
first time live. Okay.
Yeah,
all
so
right,
that's fair enough. So
fair.
Well rescued.
Okay. Let me see here. We're gonna try a 60-second game. You ready, Barry?
Yeah. Go.
All right. Let me get this 3-way screen share. There we go. Hey, look, this is us. We should turn on pranks, yeah? Okay. I don't know how engaging this is going to be for a viewer thing. Let's see.
No.
Do you need a tutorial?
Nope.
All right, I'll hit the tutorial. Look at the main screen. So you swipe the letters to make words.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You get more points for longer words, and then you score points at the end. And then, okay, all right.
Cool.
And then pranks to distract your opponents because that's fun. All right, so we're looking at our phone, but everyone else will see something up here. This is so much more pressure when you have to talk and do this at the same time. And geez, this is
fun. This is I baked it.
This is something. I don't even know how many I'm at right now. I'm at 6 words. You're at 3 words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, 2 seconds. Okay. So I got 8 words and you got 6 words. So now it'll do sort of a scoring thing, and I'll make this go fast so that way we can end up. Oh no, up, but you can't scan the full thing, so I guess that's okay. Oh, look at you! You still won, even with less words, because you found the longer word.
Well, this is you see.
Look at that. Go you. Played. All right. Well, that sure was fun. And it worked. It worked. We just played a game across oceans, across continents.
It's true.
That's crazy to me.
I really like that. That's quite cool.
Maybe we make it a point to do this more regularly with
Could we make that? We could make it a post-show activity and let everybody join in as a free-for.
Ooh. Yeah, we could. Yeah, so, I mean, there has to be some protections here. I think with the scanning, I'll have to think about that because.
So does that is that logging into your account?
It is, and it's not that. Oops, yeah, okay, that's not up for everybody. So it's not that I don't care that other people play with us. In fact, I would love that. The thing that I want is some sort of level of moderation. I don't want people jumping in with bad words as their name or things like that.
Yeah.
If we had like trusted players, that might work too. So.
Yes, that's true. Some sort of level of yes, there's got. I mean, surely they've thought about that in some way, but then I guess they wouldn't expect you to share the.
I know Jackbox has. Jackbox has certainly thought about that to where they don't show that stuff. Where they do show it for like an audience, and so the audience can like vote on things and do other interactive elements. But I don't know about Netflix. I'll need to look into it. Is what I'm saying.
Yes, I'll have to as well because we might have to play that on tomorrow evening, just for funsies on with the family.
Well,
I didn't know it was there.
I wish you a fun funsies night with the family playing that, and next time we'll be back is what the something.
Yeah, we need to talk about dates because actually in 2 weeks' time I'm going to be in some sort of field, I think, doing trials, so we're gonna have to mess around with that again.
All right, so we'll not the 22nd, but maybe the 22nd at a different time, maybe the 23rd at a different time, maybe the 21st at a different time. 2 weeks ish.
Something around that we'll make it work.
As soon as we have more information, we'll post the update so that way you all can be notified whenever we go live. And if you join the Discord, you'll be notified when we go live anyway. So there you go.
Awesome, sis.
Awesome. All right. Hey, well, it was great hanging out with you, Barry, and thank you everyone who showed up today to hang out with us as we talked human factors. It was great fun. like I said, to continue the discussion, we're hanging out in Discord. So come do that. Until next time, though, I guess you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Is that what they say?
Something like that.
All right.
That's
Closing time.
Cool. See you next
All right.
time.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Are you tired of boring lectures and textbooks on human factors and UX? Well, grab your headphones and get ready for a wild ride with the Human Factors Minute podcast. Each minute is like a mini crash course packed with valuable insights and information on various organizations, conferences, usability methods, theories, models, certifications, tools, and much more. We'll take you on a journey through the fascinating world of human factors, from the ancient history to the latest trends and developments. Listen in as we explore the field and discover new ways to enhance the user experience. From the Think Aloud protocol to the critical incident technique, focus groups, iterative design, we'll make sure that you're the smartest person in the room. Tune in on the 10th, the 20th, and the last day of every month for a new and interesting tidbit related to human factors. Don't miss out on the Human Factors Minute podcast, your ultimate source for all things human factors.
Human Factors Cast brings you the best in human factors news, interviews, conference coverage, and overall fun conversations into each and every episode we produce. But we can't do it without you. The Human Factors Cast Network is 100% listener supported. All the funds that go into running the show come from our listeners. Our patrons are our priority, and we want to ensure we're giving back to you for supporting us. Pledges start at just $1 per month and include rewards like access to our monthly Q&As with the hosts, personalized professional reviews, and access to the full library of Human Factors Minute, a weekly podcast where the hosts break down unique, obscure, and interesting human factors topics in just 1 minute. Patreon rewards are always evolving, so stop by patreon.com/humanfactorscast to see what support level may be right for you. Thank you, and remember, it depends.